Our Bible text is Matthew 28, verses 18. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. So this is part of what is called that Great Commission at the end of Matthew's Gospel. And in a previous video, we also had a look at verse 18. And there's a link supplied in the description below. So you can also look at that. But in that previous video, we looked at the authority of Jesus, right? He's the Messiah. He's the Son of God. He's Emmanuel. He's the new Moses, etc. Also in the Gospel if you go to chapter 9, verse 6, it specifically says there, where Jesus says, But that you may know that the Son of Man has power on earth to forgive sins. Of course, and he tells that man, arise, take up your bed and walk. Also, but later, Jesus makes this astonishing declaration. If you go to chapter 11, verses 27, All things have been delivered to me by my Father, and no one knows the Son except the Father, nor does anyone know the Father except the Son, and the one to whom the Son wills to reveal him. So statements like this. Also, Jesus' tremendous authority throughout the Gospels to teach and to heal and to perform exorcisms and to walk on water, etc. Jesus has this astonishing authority. But here, towards the end of Matthew, it's reaffirmed, especially through his death and more so his resurrection. And as I explained in that previous video, Jesus uses his authority where he permits the church, first aspect is the integration of Gentiles into the Christian community. Because previously in the gospel, Jesus told his disciples, just go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But now, go to all the nations. And secondly, is that Jesus gives his authority to the apostles, teaching authority, and also that authority to the church. So I explain that more in that video, and the link is given in the description. Now I want to focus more on other aspects of Jesus' authority. And now it's presented in Matthew, but also in the New Testament as a whole. Of course, our present pericope presupposes the resurrection and exaltation of Jesus. And as our Bible text says, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. And that now draws two things together, because in many places in the New Testament, it's explained that Jesus is seated at God's right hand. And that draws on Psalm 110, and also secondly on the dominion of the Son of Man. And that goes back to Daniel 7. So let's first look at this aspect of Jesus being seated at God's right hand. That goes back to Psalm 110, verses 1. It says there, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. Now, Psalm 110, verse 1 is the Old Testament text that is the most frequently quoted or alluded to in the New Testament. This aspect of Jesus being seated at God's right hand. And again, that refers immediately or directly to our Bible text. Let's read our Bible text again. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. So being seated at God's right hand is basically synonymous to what this passage in Matthew is saying, that all authority has been given to Jesus in heaven and on earth. He is now seated at God's right hand. And of course, it's a metaphor. It's not that God is specifically over there or over there, and then Jesus is literally seated at his right hand. It's a metaphor. It means is that whatever authority God has, Jesus also now has. Jesus shares God the Father's throne. He is seated at his right hand. And there are various passages that speak of this Jesus being seated at the right hand of God the Father. It's mentioned in Matthew 26. We will look at that text later on. Also in Acts, Romans, Ephesians, Colossians, Hebrews, also in 1 Peter. Various passages that refer to this. If we go specifically to Acts 2, verse 33 to 36, there at the Pentecost sermon, Peter specifically mentions there of that Jesus is now exalted. He's now at the right hand of God. And later on in the passage, it also says that God has made him both Lord and Christ. So, of course, Jesus was already Lord, already Christ. But now, having received all this authority and being seated at God's right hand, he's even more the Lord, even more the Christ. In other words, the Messiah, the anointed one. So go look at all those different passages that explains of this Jesus being seated at the right hand of the Father. Now let's look at that second aspect, the dominion of the Son of Man. And specifically, we need to read Daniel 7 verses 13 to 14. It says there, one like the Son of Man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. The Ancient of Days refers to God. Then to him, that's the Son of Man, was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom the one which shall not be destroyed. So that Daniel 7 passage refers of the Son of Man figure who will also experience divine exaltation. He's going on the clouds, he's coming to the Ancient of Days, God, and he's given eternal and worldwide dominion. So that is also related to our Bible text where Jesus says, all authority has been given to me. Now these two ideas of Jesus being seated at the right hand of the Father and also this divine exaltation of the Son of Man, it comes together and also in one passage in Matthew. If we go to Matthew 26 verses 64, that is where Jesus is on trial before the Sanhedrin and the high priests, etc. Because I asked him, who are you, etc., what's going on? And then Jesus says this specifically. Of course, they ask him the question, tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to them, it is as you said. Nevertheless, I say to you, now read very closely what it says. Hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power, in other words, of God, and coming on the clouds of heaven. So we see there those two aspects actually coming together. Jesus is seated at the right hand of the Father because he's the enthroned king, he's the Messiah of Israel. He now shares God's throne, and also that text of Daniel where the Son of Man is exalted to the power, in other words, to God, and he receives dominion, etc. So those two texts, Psalm 110 verses 1, and also Daniel 7 verses 13 to 14. There are also other Old Testament texts, but these are two of the main important texts, and they refer to our current Bible text. It's where you can summarize it. What does that mean? It refers to the exaltation of Jesus, because he's exalted to God's throne. He's now seated at God's right hand. Also, it refers to Jesus' authority, because now he shares in God's sovereign rule. Whatever authority God the Father had, is now given to the Son also, to Jesus, the Messiah, the King of Israel, the King of the world. Also, it refers to Jesus' divine status, because Jesus now also shares in God's divine nature. He shares his throne with him. Further, it also refers to the completion of his work, because Jesus is now seated. His redemptive work is final. His work of salvation is completed. Of course, him being seated at the God's right hand and exalted, it also now refers to his role of intercession. Jesus has an ongoing role in salvation. So if we go to our Bible text, and Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth, it refers to this idea of Jesus being seated at the right hand of the Father, and also that exaltation of the Son of Man who receives an everlasting dominion and kingdom. Again, If we summarize those two things together, it's about Jesus' exaltation, his authority, his divine status, the completion of his work, and also the role of intercession that he's still performing.